The leopard's cub fell into a half-collapsed well. One slip on the crumbling rim and it vanished into the dark, landing hard on dry stone. Above, the mother lunged forward, claws tearing at the edge, rocks tumbling into the hole. She called down, short, rasping cries that cracked in her throat. No answer came, only the echo of her own voice. She circled the pit again and again, panting in the heat. Dust rose around her like smoke. When the sun dipped lower, she did something no wildcat should. She climbed the ridge and walked toward the road, toward the sound of an engine. Eli was checking water stations when he saw her. Thin, ash-streaked eyes burning with something more than hunger. She didn't run. She looked right at him, turned once and cried out, low, pleading, desperate. The drought had drained everything. Rivers, creeks, even the wind. What used to be green hills had turned a rusty color. Eli Turner drove the back roads alone, checking the last working water stations. The radio was dead. No signal. Only the hum of the engine and the heat rising off the dirt. That's when he saw her. A leopard on the ridge, thin, dusty, standing in the open. She didn't hide or run. She stared straight at him, ribs rising with each breath, tail flicking like a signal. Then she turned, walked a few steps toward the foothills, and looked back. Her call was hoarse, broken, not a threat, a plea. Eli stepped out of the truck, sun on his face, rope over his shoulder. If she's not warning me off, he muttered, she's asking for help. The leopard moved quickly, pausing to glance back as Eli followed. She led him through brittle grass and thorn, dry earth cracking under his boots. Every few steps she turned, tail flicking, not to warn him off, but to urge him on. They reached a hollow between two boulders. At its center lay a collapsed cattle well, a dark hole ringed with broken stone. The air rising from it was dry, smelling of rust and dust. Eli peered over the rim. The cub was wedged against a bent pipe, one paw twisted under it, ribs fluttering with each shallow breath. Its fur was gray with dust, eyes half closed. The mother stood above him, panting, sides heaving. She growled, low, uncertain, and took a step forward. Eli raised a hand, voice calm. Easy, girl. I see it. He backed toward his truck, grabbed his rope, and keyed the radio on his shoulder. Ranger Turner to base, he said, breath unsteady. Leopard cub trapped in a collapsed well, East Ridge Sector 9. I'm going in. A crackle. Then static. He waited. Nothing. The silence said everything. No backup, no signal, no time. He looked at the pit, then at the mother watching from the rocks. Her tail flicked once. All right, he muttered. It's just us. Eli exhaled, jaw tight. He clipped the radio to his vest, tied the rope to a fence post, and began his descent. His palms slipped, dry hot. He wiped them on his shirt, gripped again, and lowered himself halfway down. The walls flaked under his boots. Every rock shifted like it wanted to give way. The cub stirred weakly, letting out a thin cry. Eli braced himself, sweat running down his neck. Hang in there, little one, he murmured. Above, the leopard snarled, a sharp, desperate sound that echoed down the well. I'm trying, he called up, breath catching. He repositioned his grip and heaved again. The rusted pipe cracked loose with a sharp ring, sending dust raining down. The cub yelped, tried to crawl, then fell limp. Eli's stomach clenched. He crouched, sliding an arm beneath its chest. The body was light, trembling, heartbeat faint against his wrist. Got you. He climbed slowly, pushing with one leg, dragging both of them up inch by inch. The rope burned against his palms. Sunlight glared off the rim as he reached the top and rolled onto the dirt. The leopard stepped forward, tail lashing. Eli laid the cub in the shade between them and moved back, hands open. The mother crept closer, sniffed the cub, and gave a single deep chuff. Half growl, half breath. Then she bent down, took the cub gently by the scruff, and turned toward the hills. Eli stayed still, chest heaving, dust thick in his throat. The leopard looked back once, her eyes bright gold in the dying light, and then she was gone. He whispered, "You're welcome." The air was still after the rescue. No wind, no sound, only heat rising from the dirt. Eli knelt a few meters back, dust in his mouth, rope burning his palms. The mother leopard crouched over her cub, body curved around it. She didn't move at first, only watched it breathe. The cub's chest rose in uneven jerks, then stopped. She nudged it, gentle at first. No response. Eli's heart sank. He wanted to help but didn't move. The leopard growled low, fear in the sound. She licked the cub's side, faster, desperate. Her breath grew ragged. She paced in tight circles, tail lashing, eyes shifting between the cub and the man. Eli swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper. "Come on, little one," he whispered. The cub's body shifted slightly. One paw dragged forward, scraping the ground. Then it coughed, a small, wet sound, and gasped for air. Eli froze, the sound cutting through him like a heartbeat he'd forgotten. The cub's sides fluttered, breath returning in uneven rhythm. Dust drifted from the rim, catching the light. For the first time that day, the air moved, a soft, trembling sigh through the heat. The mother seemed to sense it too. Every muscle in her body stilled. Then, with a low, trembling rumble that built deep in her chest, she pressed her forehead to the cub's side. The noise wasn't a growl this time. It was something else, relief breaking open. Eli felt it in his chest like an echo. The leopard stayed there for a long time, head bowed, the cub breathing against her neck. When she finally lifted her face, her eyes found him again. No warning. No threat. Only a quiet acknowledgement, the kind that didn't need words. Eli exhaled, slow and unsteady. He'd seen animals fight, flee, and die. But never this fragile peace between fear and trust. The cub blinked, tried to stand, and fell. The mother leaned close, licking its fur, murmuring softly. Eli set his canteen on the ground and slid it forward. The leopard watched but didn't move, her breath steady now, her cub safe. A tear cut through the dust on Eli's cheek. She bent once more, lifted the cub in her jaws, and turned toward the ridge. Before the light took her, she looked back, one last time. That glance said everything. Gratitude, grace. Then she was gone. Eli stayed on the ridge after the leopard vanished. The wind had softened, carrying the scent of rain. He looked down at the well, cracked stone, rusted pipe, already half buried in dust. He gathered his rope, gloves, and the untouched canteen. Each movement felt slow, heavy, the calm after fear. The sun sank low, painting the hills in copper and ash. A hawk wheeled overhead, its cry sharp and alone. Eli watched the horizon where she'd gone, her cub limping behind, stubborn, alive. He smiled faintly. She didn't come for help. He murmured. She came for hope. He turned toward the truck, boots crunching over dry earth. Behind him, the wind whispered through the grass, a low rumble far away. Not a threat. Not a warning. Thanks. The last light slipped behind the hills, and for the first time in months, the air felt alive, cool like rain coming.